So why is it if you have a daughter, she's a lot less likely to be diagnosed with ADD, ADHD than your son? Well, there's a lot of reasons why this is. First of all, boys and girls are different. Every parent knows that. Boys tend to be the more hyperactivity type. They get into trouble more often in school. I can testify to that personally. They also tend to externalize their frustrations and act with aggression or anger. Girls are different. Girls have more inattentive symptoms. They're the little girl quietly staring out the window, or perhaps the little girl who takes much longer completing her test. There is also a strong clinical bias. The bias really identifies boys as the more likely to have ADD. In 1980, we dropped the criteria for hyperactivity from the diagnosis of ADD/ADHD. And as clarification, there's not ADD over here and ADHD over here. It's all ADD/ADHD with 3 subtypes. There is predominantly inattentive type, and this is the type most girls find themselves falling into. There is also hyperactivity type. This is actually the least common type in its pure form. And then there's combined type, which you get to have both sets of symptoms. Again, we have a really strong clinical bias toward boys having the diagnosis, but not girls. So what can we say with this? Teachers don't know how to spot ADD terribly well. Oftentimes, girls are portrayed as smart, but needing to work harder. It's obvious that, they have plenty of horses to run with in terms of intelligence. And a lot of times what you typically see for both boys and girls, they will really just crush one particular subject and tank in others. And what it says to teachers is unfortunate. What it says is, lazy kid. And this is far from the truth. That should be a flag that maybe there's something else going on, like they have trouble focusing or paying attention. In adults, ADD is both overdiagnosed and underdiagnosed at the same time. There's some evidence to suggest that boys are overdiagnosed with ADD, but there's also evidence to suggest they're underdiagnosed. And this is people writing folks off as boys will be boys. We see both parts of this equation. The same is true for adults. It's overdiagnosed, and I hate to say this, oftentimes it's by people not doing adequate assessment. Primary care person is not a person to do this assessment, taking the roughly average 8 to 12 minutes in a doctor's appointment to make this assessment. It is not done with quick and dirty surveys and whatnot that will miss some and it will over-endorse others. But again, that bias toward not diagnosing girls starts when they're young. If this is a presentation that has been helpful for you, I would love it if you'd pass it along. I'd also love it if you gave it a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe. Not every video is going to be relevant to your own personal needs, but if you subscribe, then you can periodically return to the channel and see what might be relative to your need. Again, this is G.H. Glade for Coaching ADD, and we'll see you next week. Take care.